welcome back. Or if this is your first time here, hello, good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Not really sure what time of day it is wherever you are. And that's probably not a good way to start the video, but that's what we're doing today. So hello everybody. My name is Dion Burton. I'm a fashion and portrait photographer. We're based out of Miami, Florida. Most people call me Dion. I want to give you guys some insight into how I process images, not from a technical sense, but just mentally how I go through the editing process and how I keep myself from getting overwhelmed while I'm retouching. Like, I really thoroughly enjoy the process of retouching images, and I want other people to experience that as well. I hear and I see way too many times online about people complaining about how many edits they have to do and they dread going into Photoshop. And I'm like, it's a wonderful place to be. I love the process, I really, really do. So I want to give you a couple of tips that will help you in kind of going on that same journey, because for me, going into Photoshop is like that last step of the process. You've done all the preparing, you had the talent, you went on location, you shot whatever you're gonna shoot, or you photograph landscapes, whatever your process is or whatever your content is. So you've done all of that, and the last thing to do is just to polish your images and completely bring the vision that you had in your mind to the world. So the three things are, it doesn't have to be perfect, it needs to be believable. The second thing, don't rush, give yourself grace. And the third thing is have a reference. So while you're working on your images, one of the main things I always tell people is to have a reference. I'm gonna scroll through my current Pinterest board right now and show you guys like I really live this. I really do this. For every single project that I work on, I have a mood board. I define a mood board as a set of reference images to basically give me an outline of what the project is gonna be. So it will define what the hair is, the makeup, the location, the model, the poses, the wardrobe, the poses that fit each section of wardrobe, and then also how I want the final edits to look. This isn't a time to prove who can remember the most stuff. No, create a mood board, plan things out, and execute with intention. I have this whole collection of images that I've intentionally already thought out, so when I get on set, I'm not guessing. It's the same thing for Photoshop. What it does, it gives you a baseline of where you should be taking things. Having a reference will tell you if you've gone too far or if you haven't done enough. It would also tell you where to put colors. It will tell you what kind of effects you want to keep on there. The whole goal is to be intentional. We're not guessing, we're not making things up. So the more intentional you are in Photoshop, the less frustrating it becomes. Even now, I still pull out references. I have a very distinct style of how I like to do things, but at the same time, if I'm working on a very specific project and a client has made a request for a certain type of edit, I'm gonna keep that edit open while I'm in Photoshop. I literally will either open it in preview, or whatever you guys use on PCs. I'm a Mac guy, I have no idea what people use on PCs. But I use preview, or I'll just open it within Photoshop and have them tiled next to each other. Having a reference helps in the process of just keeping you on a direct path so you don't get frustrated. And even if you do get frustrated, you can always look back like, okay, I gotta keep working towards this specific goal. Concept number 2, or tip number 2, is being patient with yourself. Sometimes the frustration comes because a lot of people want to rush through the editing process. They want the edit to go from raw to magazine ready in 7 minutes. We live in this whole microwave society where we want everything to happen really fast. But in retouching and editing, even with AI and all this kind of stuff, you want to take your time and actually let's go through the process of refining your image. Things come out a lot better when you're taking your time and perfecting your own image. It's your work, it's your art. You have no reason to rush your art. And then one of the things too is that sometimes you will do a whole edit, quote unquote. When I say you do a whole edit, meaning you'll go through the process, you'll go through dodging and burning, you'll clear up pimples, you'll use frequency separation for those who use it, you'll color grade, you'll sharpen, you do all these different techniques and apply all this stuff to the image, and when you look at it, it's still not quite right. Sometimes you gotta just scrap it. Sometimes you have to scrap everything and start over. And that can seem frustrating, but just starting anew will give you a different perspective. You've already kind of done some of the things, so you know where you've messed up or things that you've gotten right. So you're able to kind of refine yourself as you go through. I like to remind photographers and retouchers to finish the edit. Sometimes people will leave errors in an image, and it's not because they want to keep things natural. I know I've seen it like, oh, I want to keep it natural. I want to keep it natural. No, you made a mistake. You forgot this. You didn't see something. So when you believe you finished your image, go through and just kind of zoom in and look at everything. Zoom out, zoom in, zoom out, zoom in. Take different perspectives on your own work so that you can make sure that you finish. Something that's super annoying is submitting an image to a client and they come back and say, hey, can you fix this, 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 and that? And you're like, man, I just put in an hour or so into this image, or however long you took on your image. I put all this time into this image, and how did I overlook that hair right there? Or how did I overlook that piece of material that could have been pushed in? Or how did I not clean up that makeup on her shirt? These are things that can be easily fixed. These are things that you can catch if you just, go through that last step and just check yourself. Just make sure that you've gone through and examined your image to make sure it reflects how you envision the image to look. And the last one seems counterintuitive, but it's not. The images don't have to be perfect. They have to be believable. This has to do with viewing distance. When you're driving down the street and you see a billboard, I promise you that billboard is not perfect. But you're also viewing that billboard from hundreds of feet away. You're not right up on it. You're not, 12 inches away from it. So you're not gonna see every little thing that's wrong. You're viewing it from a very far distance. So the details are not super, super important. However, it needs to be believable. You need to give the appearance as if it's perfected. So if I'm editing and I know the images are only gonna be for social media, I'm not gonna put them on my website, I'm not gonna do anything with them, I'm gonna edit a little bit differently than I would for my website. On my website, you're sitting at a computer or you're on a phone and you can blow my images up and you can really see the detail. But on Instagram or Facebook, the images are small. So I'm gonna do certain things to where it's believable that all the information is perfected, that all the transitions are good and the makeup looks absolutely perfect and everything is sharp and all the lighting is correct. I'm not gonna go through and spend 2 hours on an image that is only gonna be viewed this big. So you don't need to put 17 hours into something that's only gonna be viewed at a small distance. Now, if it's a magazine or it's some kind of high-end publication, like I remember doing retouching for a project for ESPN, that had to be perfect. That was one of those like 2-hour edits on one image and it had to be perfect. So I hope the tips that I've given you guys today will just help you in the process of figuring things out. And it just makes Photoshop enjoyable, it makes the retouching process enjoyable. It doesn't have to be this daunting task that's just dreaded and you don't want to ever do it and you just hate it. These tips can help that process. So if you have other questions, feel free to reach out. You can send me a DM on Instagram, you can email me, you can sign up for my workshops or my one-on-one sessions. So yeah, like, comment, subscribe. Look forward to you guys coming back for the next video. I really, really appreciate your support so far and me starting this new endeavor and taking this leap of faith into the YouTube universe. It's actually been kind of cool so far. I really, really appreciate the feedback. You guys have definitely made it worth it. Especially for the people who feel like I'm actually helping them. So I really, really appreciate that. Until next time. All right.